Namaste. This is the last video in the breakup bucket series, and I'm going to share my story with you on how I manage breakups and how I don't hate, blame, or talk bad about anybody else. And I've learned to forgive myself through breakups and understand myself, empathize with myself, and heal myself, even though the things that happened to me when I was younger you may think otherwise. I grew up into a very traumatic household. My dad was abusive to me and my mom and my brother. My mom was taken away from me when I was 7. She had schizophrenia and she was institutionalized for 27 years. So I had that part of my life that was very traumatic. My brother was gay, had a hard time accepting it, did drugs, died 6 years ago from methamphetamine and alcohol misuse. I didn't know these guys. We never sat down. We never had dinner together. We never said, "Oh, how are you doing?" Or would you like to have some um, would you like to have some more salt with your food? Oh, here, why don't you pass me the potatoes? Can you give me the sambar? Nothing like that ever happened. The only common thing that we had growing up was that we did not like ourselves. And as I was growing up, I was trying to fit in with everybody, people pleasing, trying to be accepted by other people because I didn't know what it meant to accept myself. And I was so young. I'm not mad at my younger self for anything. I went to juvenile detention when I was a kid, 17, for stealing jeans and joyriding in cars. And I went to India and I got 7 scholarships in the medical school there. But that was one of the worst things that could have happened to my emotional attachment patterns and my emotional regulation, as they call it, which I don't like to talk about really. I don't like to call it controlling my mind. But since I got those scholarships into medical school, I had all these problems when I was younger, made fun of at school. I was bullied. I was jumped. I was a wannabe gangster. All of these things that happened, I got into medical school. And now I have this overconfidence, which further suppressed my low self-esteem, my self-hatred, and the hatred that I have towards others got further suppressed because I'm a doctor now. And then what happens is that, throughout the relationships that I had during that time, obviously with my overconfidence, I'm overbearing, talking loud, trying to control the environment, trying to fix everybody, thinking that I'm right, thinking that they're not wrong, pretending to be like the prize or the charismatic individual who has not done any work on themselves emotionally. But, when you're so young, you're not going to understand some of these things. And, lying, people pleasing, saying things behind their back, trying to find people that will support this mission, vision, purpose of yours to feel good about yourself by blaming somebody else was a big part of my relationships. And God bless my ex-wife. If she's watching some of this stuff, it's because of her that this content is there. She was so good to me, and she was the only person that loved me, and I did her wrong. As I think about it, I'm just like, she definitely got away, right? But she deserves like whatever she has right now. I mean, she showed me love, she showed me compassion, she showed me empathy, and I just did not reflect that back to her because I did not like myself. And with that said, what happened was after that, when she left, I'm like, look, her dad was like, look, don't be with anybody, don't hurt anybody ever again. That was a big wake up call. We were together for about 4 years, three or 4 years. That was a big wake up call. And what happened then was that I was single for 4 years. And that's when I found myself and I started writing. And I was writing at that time, and I was writing a lot of raps. And what Thanks, emotional. What happened was that when I was writing these raps, you start understanding yourself. See, look at all of this writing here. And what I'm writing is just things about myself. Just, okay, here's some chest flies. Here's something that I wrote from mind hygiene meditation to decrease sugar and increase exercise, except that I need to be alone, and I need to risk rejection. I need to understand what it means to do it all alone. Sure, everybody says that you need to fix your mind and control things, but you don't want to do that. Oh, I need to have compassion for myself. I do everything alone. And what I'm doing here is I'm not feeling bad for myself. I'm just accepting and understanding myself. And this is what I needed to do. But I didn't know that I needed to do these things. In my mid-30s, I didn't understand it. I didn't know that this is what I needed to do to help myself. And that's what I would like for you to know, like you don't need to suffer like I did. You don't need to suffer. You can write. You can take care of your mind. You can understand yourself. And you want to do it alone, and you want to do it single. You want to live alone. You don't want to talk to anybody. You got to write. You got to write over and over and over again. And then what happens is that after about 4 years of being single, there was a person that I was working with, a great person. I've had great relationships All of them have been great. She was a little bit younger than me, and we knew each other for about a few years before we started dating. So I'm like, look, you know what? I'm still working through things. I've been single for 4 years now. You got to have a lot of compassion for me because I'm about to get into a relationship that's new and I don't know what I'm going to do. So then I started going to dialectical behavioral therapy, and I was practicing on her these dialectical techniques, which is like, this situation is not good or bad. Let's accept it. I started understanding these terms then and writing these things down on boards, writing these things down on paper, and then talking to her about it. How about, what is mindful awareness? What is circumstantial awareness? And we would write these things down and work through these things. So she allowed me to grow. And then I started doing eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy. After we broke up, I was single for another year, started doing metacognitive behavioral therapy. I got a mindfulness-based stress reduction. At this time, I might have been sober from alcohol, cocaine, marijuana for about 3 years. So I was fully exposed, right? My mind is fully present now. I have no way to fix it besides sugar. So I was addicted to sugar after that for about 2 years. And then I got into another relationship, which I proved to myself that these systems work, where we would write down every week. We would sit down and write for 45 minutes on communication, growth mindset, and shared values to be the best version of yourself. Bah, my dog is here with me. To be the best version of yourself. And what that means is that when you communicate with judgment, that means there's hatred. But when you communicate with empathy, that means there's understanding. But to communicate with empathy to somebody else, you first got to learn how to be empathetic towards yourself. And I'd done all of these things. So these are the tools that I'm putting into the relationship. And then I want to grow. Instead of having a fixed mindset, it is what it is. Oh, you know what? It's just going to be like that. You don't want to be operating in relationships like that. They're not going to work. Sharing the same values. Do you want to be the best version of yourself? Do you want to accept life? Do you want to hold yourself accountable? Or do you want to blame somebody else? If that's the opposite, then you don't share the same values. Are you going to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't work out when you do, eat healthy when you do? Or are you going to be in a relationship with somebody that you want to play video games with? So those are some things that you need to understand by doing this triangle to be the best version of yourself. And I proved it over those 2 years. And what it showed me was that prevention is better than cure. I'm a practicing board certified family doctor, and prevention is better than cure. Writing all the time, sitting down, having conversations is better than having an argument later and having resentments. And what I learned from that relationship is that I can do this. And she was great too. We just were at the right times in our lives. She had something else going on personally, and so did I. And going through this breakup now, we were together for a few months. Great person, maybe has some things going on in her life with her family. And, it hurts to me, but I'm not blaming her. I'm not talking bad about her. I'm not venting about her right now. I'm in the woods right now with my dog, here recording some videos, writing some things down. I have my mom and my brother's ashes here that I'm going to leave out. And I'm going to say, God bless both of us. Grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to accept and empathize with the difference. And here I'll do it, after this, and pray for both of us to heal and for our success. And I'm not just making these things up, right? Like, I've taken time to understand it. And that's what I would like to impress to you, is that this mind hygiene technique, the writing, there will be a link in the description for the mind hygiene PDF. But this writing is what is going to save your life. If you work out, you eat right, you go to the woods, there's a 20-30% medical evidence supports these reductions in your anxiety, depression, ADHD, bipolar, whatever it is. And if you write, there's a 42% reduction, especially if you have a goal. But the goal shouldn't be you feeling better. It should be a system when you get back into a relationship again. What are you going to do? What happens when you are in emotional mind? Are you going to react, or are you going to write it down, go back, talk to this person, and understand it? And that's where you're ready to be in a relationship, where you're not going to admit, you're not going to fight, you're not going to control, you're going to accept and embrace and understand, you're going to soften the process, you're not going to challenge the process, you're going to take time, and this could take time. And when you do approach somebody else, you have written it all down. Look at all this writing here. You've written it all down, and let's say you have a problem, you have an argument, you've written it all down, and this is just one writing technique, right? Like, you can write through so many different ways. You don't have to, and there's some of my other videos, another video of mine called The Vision Room, where I talk about my vision room and how I write in there too, and I write in Google Docs as well. But what you want to do is you could transfer some of these things to Google Docs, and that's how I've created all of this content, right? By writing this down first, hand to paper, and then transferring it to a Google Doc. And now I do use AI sometimes to try to organize some of it, but it's all handwritten. And that's what I would suggest for you to do. For 1 to 90 seconds, every 90 minutes, write down, I accept and embrace this. I'm not blaming somebody else. This is what I'm going to do to be the prize and show charisma to myself and be the best version of myself. And I'm going to keep doing it 1 to 90 seconds, every 90 minutes for the rest of my life, because this is mind, diet, and exercise. I wish you the best in your journey, and will pray for me, pray for everybody else who is going through a breakup, and hopefully this inspires you. I'm not giving you advice. I am the inspirationalist, and hopefully this will help you get on your journey again. And bless all of the people that have been in your life. Try to inspire from them. Don't blame them. Don't say it's their fault. Don't hold yourself accountable. Just accept it and embrace yourself. Try to inspire others with what you've accepted and embraced. Continue to do the daily work, empower yourself, empower others, more so have good life experiences at least 70 to 80% of the time. And that's my aim, is to just feel good 70 to 80% of the time instead of feeling like crap 100% of the day. No, namaste.